Western Australia surprised me more than I thought. There are incredible beaches, hikes, caves, a lot about nature and wildlife, which I didn't expect it. All right, let's start with the things that I think most people would appreciate, which is Perth, wildlife, and a bit of nature. First thing I would recommend is Fremantle, and with it the Fremantle Prison. Fremantle, in my opinion, is one of the areas where you have a very good vibe, a lot of young people. There is like great architecture. It's one of the oldest here in Western Australia. Even if you just walk around and look at all the nice architecture, you will have a great time. On the weekend, there are like the sunset markets, which I can recommend as well. You have great food and some local made stuff. When it comes to the Fremantle Prison, they have several different tours, and most of them are good. Apart from that, there is the Caver's Ham Wildlife Park, which is basically in Perth as well, a bit outside of the CBD, but it is a great experience to see all of the local wildlife in person. There are like different offers. You can even hold and pet koalas, or you can go into an area where there are kangaroos, which you can pet as well or feed. For me, it was one of the most wholesome experiences I had here and something I can highly recommend. Of course, there are downsides to those places as well. There are a lot of animals which are in a cage and definitely have not enough room to have a proper life in my eyes, but it's still a great experience. Apart from that, of course, there's the CBD, which is basically the city center of Perth, which is nice to walk around as well. You have some great architecture, some skyscrapers, and that is kind of one of the only areas where there is something going on, even a bit later in the day. In the CBD, there is like the Elizabeth Quay, which is something I would highly suggest going to as well. There you have a great vibe, restaurants, there's the ocean and the skyscrapers with a good skyline. It's just very cinematic and the scenery is good. Very close to the Elizabeth Quay is the King's Park, and the King's Park is definitely one of the highlights. It is basically a little bit hilly there, and because of that you have a great view on the skyline again, on the river, on the ocean. The King's Park is actually bigger than the New York Central Park, so you can spend there the whole day and still haven't seen everything. The next thing on my list is Rottnest Island, and Rottnest is just a unique experience itself. It is basically a very small island close to Perth, where you can only get through with a boat, and on the island you can only get by with walking, on a bicycle, or with a public bus. I would definitely suggest going with the bicycle. It is the most fun way as well. It is a bit hilly, but you have a great combination of fitness, exploring, adventure. And on this island there is one of the cutest animals on this world, which is the quokkas. They are smiling, they're jumping around, they're just super cute. Take into consideration, they most of the time just come out of the bushes or like awake when it's a bit later in the day. So during sunset, you will see definitely the most quokkas, not during the day. The unique experiences the island has to offer is definitely the skydiving. I did that now 2 times, and the skydiving was an exceptional experience, especially on a sunny day because everything is blue, no clouds, and you see all the island and the water is like crystal clear. So even when I was skydiving once, I saw like a whale swimming in the ocean, which was pretty epic. The next area I would recommend checking out here in Western Australia is Margaret River and that south area that comes with it. Margaret River is a very small but nice village. It has a good vibe, a lot of young people again. You can surf there, you can hike there. There is like the Cape to Cape hike, which is fantastic. They have a lot of caves there, and I'm not big into caves, but they were really beautiful, like the Jewel Cave or the Lake Cave. Apart from that, There are a lot of places where you can surf, a lot of great beaches. And something fun and unique, which you might haven't done yet, is there's the Margaret River maze. It is a gigantic maze where you can literally get lost in. We at least did, and it was a lot of fun. You can spend the whole day there as well. They have a garden, they have a mini golf, but the main attraction is definitely the maze, and that is something I can highly recommend. It was super fun. Actually, the first time we got lost and didn't get out, and we only got through the second try. Near Busselton, there is the Busselton Life Aquarium, which is one of the only 6 in the world. You can imagine it like this. There's like a very, very long jetty, and at the end they built like a little concrete house or bunker, you could say. And on the side you have those big windows, and you literally walk down the stairs, and then you can see in front of the windows how the fish and octopus and everything in the water is acting in their natural habitat. I've never seen that before. I've never experienced anything like that before, and it was exceptional because we saw like a lot of school of fish and octopus as well, which was pretty epic. And you know, they are not in a little glass tank, they're in the natural ocean. So that was definitely something I've never had before. If you're up to a bit more of adventure and hiking, then I can definitely recommend the Stirling National Park area and Albany in general. The Stirling National Park is basically one of the only real mountain ranges in Western Australia, and we did a couple of hikes there. One of them, basically the most famous hike in Western Australia, is the Bluff Knoll, which was exceptional. It's a lot of stairs, but at the end it's very rewarding. 360 view, you can see all the other mountains. It was really nice. There is another hike which is, I think, North Firebreak to Ellen Peak or something. I can list down the all trails link to this specific hike. That is a bit more of an advanced one with around 29 kilometers, and it's from peak to peak. It's pretty nice but very exhausting. Another very good hike is the Nancy Peak hike, which is close to Albany or like Mount Barker. It is exceptional. You have a lot of big tall trees, butterflies when you walk around. It seemed like a fairy tale. And at the top again, a great view about all the other mountains and some lakes actually. In Albany you have exceptional beaches, great coastline, and there is a museum which I didn't thought I would like that much, which is it's the Whale Station Museum in Albany. That was exceptional. We spent there the whole day. They made it very unique, the experience. You have a real whale hunting ship there where you can see how they hunted them, how they pulled them in, all the other stuff they developed just for hunting whales. It was actually quite interesting. You see like big whale skeletons, those fuel tanks, everything that they did with male examining and making use of the whale hunting in general. Some other great adventure stops are the Pinnacle Desert and the Lancel Dunes. You can combine this as a day trip. It's more in the north from Perth. The Pinnacle Desert, you have a lot of unique rock structures, and sometimes if you're lucky you might even see an emo like we did. At the dunes you can do all kinds of stuff. You can rent quads, you can rent some boards and then try to, you know, surf down. It was pretty fun. Another great spot is the Dave Evans Bicentennial Tree and the Serpentine Falls hike. The Serpentine Falls hike is very close to Perth. You can make it a very short hike or a very long hike. So it's pretty diverse and versatile in general. Devon Evans Bicentennial Tree thing. That is basically a adventure which really tests your courage, because it is a very tall tree and they put some metal strips in it and you kind of climb it up to like a little rooftop. The thing is that there is no safety net, so there are like huge gaps between the metal strips, and a lot of people are driving there. We saw like often people coming and going, but only like 5% of them are going up there actually. But the view is exceptional up there, so I can highly recommend it. And if you have the courage and you want to test your fear of heights, that is one of the best opportunities. So the best combination I would say for a couple of days is going into the CBD, Kings Park and Elizabeth Quay, checking out Fremantle, maybe the prison. if possible, go to Rottnest and check out the island and the Caverhams Wildlife Park. That is something you can get done in a couple of days, and you have some of the best spots included. The best combination for 7 to 10 days in WA, in my opinion, is Perth and Fremantle, like the Fremantle Prison, the CBD, Elizabeth Quay, Kings Park, and the Rottnest Island definitely. Margaret River is an exceptional area. A Cape to Cape section of this hike, which is there, and some caves. I would definitely check out a cave. Albany, because it was one of the highlights in WA for me. One hike in the Stirling National Park. Maybe Bluff Knoll, because it's the most famous, but there are other ones which are great too. If you just want to go for adventure, or mostly adventure in WA, I would highly suggest go to Rottnest Island by bicycle and drive around there, explore the beaches, go skydiving there if you can afford it, because it's exceptional, and do the Cape to Cape hike close to Margaret. That is an exceptional hike, good views, nice beach. The Bluff Knoll hike, I liked that a lot. Nancy Peak hike, which is close to Albany, that was like fairy tale. The first time that a hike felt for me like I was in a fairy tale. The Dave Evans Bicentennial Tree, because it is literally a test of courage, and you feel great afterwards if you went up to the roof. Another cool part is the Lancel Dunes with the sandboarding. That is basically all you have for adventure. If you're interested in more Western Australia or Australia videos, please check out my YouTube channel. I've made videos about how to get a job, how it is to move to Australia, the cost of living. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one.